Welcome back to the BME podcast, the best sports podcast in New Jersey. Your home for hot takes, deep dives, and debates across all sports. We're 4 weeks into the NFL season. The MLB Wild Card is set, and the NBA is around the corner. On this episode, we break down panic or don't panic for some of the NFL teams, some of their players. We talk about Jaxson Dart's first game, how it went, we grade it, and we look at some of the college football prospects. Y'all know that quarterback conversation is always fluctuating week by week. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, tell any and everybody about the podcast. We're trying to be here for a good time and a long time. All that and more on this episode.
Bro, ça tue, ça blesse, ça flingue. Hey, bro.
What's up? What's up? Welcome back to another episode of the Bench Mob ENT podcast, the best sports podcast in New Jersey. As you heard in the intro, we have a jam-packed episode for y'all today. But before we get into that, fellas, how y'all doing?
Doing good.
I'm doing great. It's Victory Tuesday for me, man. It's my first Victory Tuesday, a victory week in a long time, courtesy of the New York Giants. So I'm great, man. I'm excited. Things are looking up out here, man.
So as mentioned in the intro, we have, of course, Panic or Don't Panic is back again for another week. Before we get into that, let me know in the comments, what teams in the NFL are you actually worried or most concerned about? Jump in the comments if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're listening to this on a streaming platform, drop it in the comments. Which teams are you most worried about? We'll start off with one of the teams that I think we all have some concerns about. The Baltimore Ravens. They are 1-3 right now. With that record, they currently stand a 28% chance to make the playoffs. Lamar Jackson is injured, and he is definitely at least out for the next game. Is it time to panic in Baltimore?
For sure. I think, they were on the topic last week, and I was like, maybe they don't have to panic just because it's so early in the season, but hey, it can get late real quick, and it's getting late. Like they let the Chiefs, who, all year have struggled to put up points. They threw up 40 on them. So that Ravens defense is not what we're used to and what we've become accustomed to the standard being. And now you lose Lamar for a couple weeks. Cooper Rush is a competent backup, but this is a two-time MVP we're talking about. You're losing him for 2 weeks. You're already 1-3. By the time he comes back, you could be like 1-6. Like, it's time to panic. And then Derrick Henry hasn't looked like the same guy. Yeah, I'm panicking if I'm a Ravens fan because they had high hopes. That's why they had that primetime Monday or Sunday night game week 1 against the Bills, because they were supposed to be the top 2 teams in the AFC.
Hey, Greg, looking at that, Lamar actually is injured, which nobody, obviously wishes upon. But there was some news that came out a couple weeks ago about, Shedeur saying him and Prime, I don't want to go to Baltimore and sit behind Lamar. He's sitting as the third string quarterback, and if he was on Baltimore and got drafted by them, he'd be playing right now. Do you think Prime and Shedeur kind of fumbled the draft process when we look at a situation like this?
They obviously fumbled it because he's not a 5th-round talent to win the 5th round. So they fumbled the process from that standpoint. But look, I understand why they didn't want to go to Baltimore. They figured this kid had a chance to start, and if he'd come in at all from Lamar Jackson, it was only ever going to be temporary, no matter how well he performed. I still think it was stupid because if you think about it, like, even if you come from Lamar and you play well and you showcase an ability to play at a high level, that can lead to a starting job down the line via trade or wherever it might be, or even at the end of your tenure there, you can parlay this into a starting job. We've seen it happen before in the NFL. So it was short-sighted, and they've overplayed their hand. They overestimated what these guys thought about Shedeur Sanders, what these evaluators thought about Shedeur Sanders, right? They obviously see themselves very highly. Dion is not short of confidence. Obviously, he's got more confidence than anybody in the world. And so that happens to be something he passed on to his son. And so now they have to live with the consequences of that kind of decision. Because you look at the situation with the Browns right now, they're going to start Dylan this week, Dylan Gabriel. And they love him. They're in full blown love with that guy, right? They prefer him. He was hurt all preseason. He had worse numbers in practice all preseason, and here we are. He's still the unquestioned number 2 guy, right behind Flacco. So yeah, look, it's a bleak situation for Shedeur, but I mean, sometimes that overconfidence can kill you, right? And I think this is one of those situations. He obviously be better off playing for the Ravens, even just being there and learning from those guys over there, learning from the offensive staff over there, learning from Monken and from Lamar, and picking things up and being around that level of greatness every single day. So to sit there and puff your chest out and put your nose up at an opportunity to go play for them when you're sliding down draft boards it's a confidence that I don't know that I want. I don't know that I want that level of confidence. Okay, I think I want to avoid it. Keep it away from me. It leads you to bad decisions.
Hey, speaking of level of confidence, his running mate, his boy, his homie, his road dog that he trained with leading up to the draft, Cam Ward. Cam Ward has struggled so far this year. We did not expect the Titans to be anything special this year. They're 0-4, but Cam has not looked good. Is it time to panic in regards of Cam and his progression as a rookie quarterback?
I wouldn't panic at this point. What I would say is I think this is a tough situation for Cam, and Cam has to learn that I don't think you can tell the media that your team is ass and just in plain words. I don't think you can really say that. I mean, you can say it, but I don't think it's a good idea or it goes over great. I think he'll learn as he gets more acclimated to playing in the league and what it means to be a captain of a team. That you got to kind of be buttoned up. Playing quarterback, it's hard to be that authentic, that honest, that raw after a game. So he'll learn, but they're a bad football team all around him. I think the talent, the arm talent, that stuff speaks for itself. I'm not really worried about that. He has no one to throw the football to. Calvin Ridley looks like a shell of himself. I don't know what we're looking at there with him. So they don't have a number one. There's no security blanket for him within that offense at all. And it's been tough to watch. It's been tough to watch because you're not really getting a chance to make a real evaluation on him. I saw the Denver tape from week 1. He was incredible, making people miss, throwing some different arm angles, throwing the anticipation, has enough arm strength to put it anywhere he wants in the field. So I know he has a number 1 pick talent. But the record's not going to say that at the end of the year. And his stats aren't going to say that at the end of the year. You can't get fooled. You got to watch the games. So contrary to the people who comment on these posts, I actually watch. So lucky for y'all, I can give you an honest assessment.
Miles, on the flip side, is another team that is unfortunately 0-4, just off to an 0-4 start. As we discussed in our personal chat, does not seem like they are willing to let Justin Fields throw the rock, expand the offense. Is it time to panic over in MetLife? The green team, though, not the blue team.
I'd say no, because this is kind of what it is at this point. Like, they're not a good football team. Defensively, they've got holes in a lot of places that I didn't think they had holes in. Like the secondary, I thought would be a strength. It's been a weakness. Sauce has to step up. What else? Yeah, they're not letting Fields throw, but maybe because they don't really trust him. You saw what happened in the Bills game. He didn't look that great when given the chance to throw. So I knew this coming in. They were going to try to make this a run-heavy offense, and I mean, the running game's been great. It's just you can't do that the whole game. When you get down 17-3, you're going to have to throw the ball. And so a lot of his yards came in garbage time. So his numbers look good, but most of it, they're not really playing how they were at the beginning of the game when they're just playing prevent. So they're giving you the underneath stuff, and you can pad your stats that way. So I'm doing my own scouting for QBs because, hey, I wanted to give Fields a chance, and there's still a chance that maybe he gets on a roll at some point and plays well. Like we got the Cowboys on Sunday, so maybe we see him play better against that defense. But I mean, he is what he is. He's a guy who locks in on his first read and then he runs. That's kind of his whole game right there. So the Jets are going to be drafting a quarterback next year. I think it's Aaron Glenn's not going to admit that, but I mean, they're not going to hook their wagon to Justin Fields. This will be the third team that he's on. So, yeah, I mean, as a Jets fan, I'm not surprised anymore. Stuff happens with us, and you live with it. But I'm gonna still rock with my team. That's it.
Yeah, most definitely, it would not be smart for Aaron Glenn to hitch his wagon to a Justin Fields. Unfortunately, wouldn't be the best option. Staying at MetLife though, over there in Big Blue Nation, yet again, the turf, the OBJ curse, whatever you want to call it, has happened again for the Giants. Malik Nabers is out, one of the best wide receivers in the league, a super great target to have as a rookie for Jaxson Dart. Now you kind of take away one of his security blankets. Is it time to panic over in Big Blue Nation, specifically for Jaxson Dart and his development when the wide receiving core is not that deep?
Yeah, I mean, look, I told people this when it happened on Sunday. I had a lot of people upset. I was upset initially, and it subsided because for me, the Giants have not made a habit of winning football games since 2022. Not many. All right, so much so that Dibble and Shane, we're talking about them being fired. And I keep telling people as well, as a sidebar, I don't think if Dibble got fired at the end of this year, Shane is not getting fired. Just knowing Mara, I'm just being honest. And prayers up to Mara. Hopefully he pulls through here. But just knowing him and the way he's operated his whole life, he's not firing them both. That's my take. Now, back to your point. I really made it a point not to be negative or pessimistic about the situation because look, like the turf thing's a real problem, but the reason why these guys have turf in these arenas and in these stadiums is because they're cheap. They're cheap. It takes a lot of money and time to upkeep grass, right? Grass fields, the way they do in FIFA, the way they do in Euro leagues and in soccer, and the grass is perfect and the pitch is perfect. It's not like that in the NFL. These guys don't want to spend that kind of money. It's the reason why we even have turf is because they want to take a shortcut, right? That's how billionaires become billionaires. They find shortcuts. All right. So that's one problem. Looking at the Malik situation and Jackson's development, I'll be honest with you. I'm still very upbeat about Jaxson Dart. I'm very upbeat. I'm very upbeat about him. I thought he handled himself very well in that football game, especially after the injury. They targeted him early in the football game, right? And they were making it a point to give him the football in the middle of the field and use him as a decoy to open other things up. But I thought when he went out of the game, he still made some nice throws under duress. I thought he still made some nice plays. He only threw for 111 yards. He should have had more. Obviously, there was a couple pass interferences and things like that where there would have been clear touchdowns. They had one deep bomb to Slayton that got pulled back. But I really don't worry about them. I'll be honest. I think they have a staff that can scheme, right? And I think this is the ultimate barometer of you as a coaching staff, right? You lost Malik Nabers. Can you scheme guys open? Can you create advantageous situations for your quarterback and still win football games in spite of being without Malik Nabers? You win 6 games down the stretch here with 6 more games with Jaxson Dart. You're safe, man. You're going to be back next year. And if Jaxson Dart shows a great deal of promise, a couple 4 touchdown games, 3 touchdown games, right? More rushing touchdowns, you're going to be in a good spot. I think Giants fans should be optimistic. Malik will be back next year. You weren't winning a Super Bowl this year. Relax. You weren't getting to the playoffs this year. Relax. Malik's out. It's unfortunate that he's young. He bounces back and is the same player when he returns. But to sit here and be distraught the way I saw some Giants fans looking after that win, I'm like, no way. Did you watch Abdul Carter in that game? Did you watch Abdul Carter just violate whoever was in front of him for the entirety of the game? He was incredible, and they stole a sack from him on intentional grounding. He is an incredible player. He really is. He is so talented. And Kayvon Thibodeau is really having a great year. He's playing great football. The Giants should extend him and Illuminor on the right tackle. Extend them both now. Don't wait. Don't let good players leave that door anymore. All Shane, you should get fired. So I'm good, man. I like what I saw from Jaxson Dart. I think he has a bright future. The team played harder for him than Russ. And I think that's something people have to understand. From the beginning of that football game, when you cut the TV on and you kind of cut the sound on your TV, and you heard how loud MetLife was, you saw how the defense was flying around, making tackles. It was a different environment. MetLife has not sounded like that in a very long time. That was a raucous crowd that on Sunday afternoon. So that it's the right transition. They've all pushed the right button. People want to hit Dayball like a punching bag because they're not winning and they haven't been winning. Give that guy credit. He made the right call. And I think Dayball's love affair with Jaxson Dart is warranted. I think it's warranted. I think we have something here. We're going to see more explosive passing offense from him in the future. I think I saw a couple of ESPN analysts. Benjamin Solak is his name. Dork. He posted what's his name's passing chart. Was it Dart's passing chart, and there wasn't much going on, right, on it. I think he's being sarcastic. Yo, they're going to open up the playbook. That was a great defense he faced, right? Clearly, they try to not put too much on his plate. From a passing standpoint, they will open it up, and they lost Malik Nabers mid-game. They have to adjust. So I have no problem. Hey, bring back Odell Beckham. I'm here for it, by the way. The tape says he can still get open. That's all I'm telling you. So I have no problem doing that. To the Giants fans who want to trade for Chris Olave or these other wide receiver twos around the league, Jacoby Myers, I'm not here for that. Don't do it. Chris Olave is basically two. He's one bad fall from throwing up gang signs.
Hey, so you just mentioned about your coaching staff and specifically Dayball, and this is where when you see a situation like this, where you have injuries, where you have things happen where you don't have the full set of roster, the full set of weapons, this is where you get to see some coaches to see how good of a coach you are. Can you get that second string, that third string player to perform well as if they were the starter? With that in mind, Lamar being out, a possibility, like Miles was saying, you might see a 1-6 start when Lamar gets back. Is this a situation where we might see Harbaugh on the hot seat in Baltimore?
Yes.
Really?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's different. Like, we won that Super Bowl so long ago, and you can only hold on to that for so long. Like, yes, they've sustained winning for a good period of time. Like, they've made the playoffs. They've been the number one seed at times. But for some reason, they don't get over the hump. So, yeah, Harbaugh, he's a good coach, really good coach. But sometimes you have to move on. And if they end up with a losing record here, this is the perfect time to do that. Like, that's how I felt with Tomlin. I'm like, he's gotten a lot of breaks over the year, been able to go 8-8 or 9-8 and coast to the next year because he has a Super Bowl. But these guys, they shouldn't be allowed to get these breaks just because they won in 2011. Like, Harbaugh, it's been so long since we've seen good playoff success from you. Like, I'd like to see his record over the last 6-7 years in the playoffs. It's a losing record. And yeah, some of that falls on the quarterback, but it also falls on coaching. So I do think he's on the hot seat if they do go to like 1-6, and then even 1-7 when Lamar comes back. Because who's going to say that the offense is going to be rolling when he gets back? Like, Lamar can only do so much. The defense sucks, so they can easily go 1-6 at this point.
I think this also points to the aspect of the importance of when you have that quarterback on a rookie deal, you need to get it done. Yes, by all means, Lamar should get every single dollar he got. But with him on that new contract now, when you have a team like this and they face injuries, the roster is not deep because the most of your money is with Lamar. So I'd say, yeah, Harbaugh, the front office, everybody, y'all dropped the ball because y'all should have been won a Super Bowl before you had to re-up with Lamar. Y'all should have been got him the wide receivers that he needed. Y'all should have took advantage of it when the defense was actually elite. Y'all dropped the ball on that front, and that boils down to the leadership. I mentioned in our intro what was on the docket today. Now, when I recorded that, there are some things that went down in the sports world that was not a part of the intro that I recorded. So obviously, panic or don't panic right now is dealing with the NFL, but we're going to have to throw in a WNBA don't panic or panic segment, specifically, again, talking about leadership. Napheesa Collier, she said a lot today. She, in her exit interview, she said a lot. She pulled her Jesus moment in the temple and flipped all the tables off and then walked away. But the main thing she said that was stuck out, the best fans in the world, the best players in the world, but the worst leadership in the world. Watching that exit interview and the things that she said and the negotiations that the W was currently in and going to be in at the end of the season, is this a situation now for both parties, the players and the league? Is it time to panic or don't panic regarding the W? I see a lockout happening personally.
Definitely time to panic. Like you see, Unrivaled, it's going into a second year. They've got benefactors. They've got people who are supporting them and pouring more money into this new league, as opposed to the WNBA, who quote unquote they struggle to, I don't know, make ends meet. But they gotta buck up and pay these girls what they're worth. Sure, she's probably gonna say like, you guys should be grateful that you're making what you're making, which is, I mean, let's see your check at the end of the year, and let me see what if that matches with the best players in the W. Like Asia's making like 250. That's a lot for us, but in the grand scheme of things, that's nothing for them. So instead of having them go overseas, they could stay in the States and play. That's why this Unrivaled is so great for these girls, and they get a chance to make money, make good money, and it's a short stint. So the W has some issues coming up. And yes, I do think there's going to be a lockout because, like Napheesa said, there's been basically any talks with the leadership have gone nowhere. And other girls have echoed that when they talked about the CBA and all that stuff, it's not going anywhere. So there's going to be a lockout. And I'm curious to see if that leads to a change in ownership, not ownership, change in leadership at the top, if Kathy gets fired or not fired, if they force her out. Because these commissioners don't usually get removed from their job unless something happens. But I do think it's going to get to that point, especially with how fired up Napheesa was in this exit interview, where she was dropping gems like what she said about Caitlin Clark, what she said about the refs, and how only losers complain about the refs. I'm like, huh, interesting, very interesting. So she could try to relate to the players with, like I told you guys before, she tried to do the nay nay and dancing with them on the dance floor, try to be relatable. But you're not one of them. You're not one of us. Like you're one of them. Like you're someone who's not for the players. You're for yourself. You're for the product, and maybe not for the product. Because if you're for the product, maybe you would maybe cave to some of the demands of the players, because they're not far off from what they're asking.
The league is an abject failure. It's an abject failure. It's a shame. They haven't taken advantage of the moment. They haven't taken advantage of the opportunities they have with players like Caitlin Clark coming into the WNBA and the notoriety she brought with her and the already pre-made fan base she walked into the WNBA with. And so for this woman, to Kathy, to sit there and say that, hey, like, she should be thankful to us for giving her the platform. No. She didn't need you. She didn't need your platform. As a matter of fact, you don't have much of a platform. The W is not much of a platform, to be quite honest. Okay, there are plenty of people who walk around who are indifferent to the fact that the WNBA games are happening as we speak. Too many when the product is actually good. When there have never been more really good players, more fascinating players in this league. You have completely botched the Angel Reese Caitlin Clark rivalry and not marketing it the correct way. That could have led to a boom in the popularity of this sport, and you haven't done that. You're going to botch it when Juju Watkins gets there for sure. You are certainly going to do that. You botch Paige Becker's rookie campaign and how phenomenal she was. You completely botched that and underselling her, right? So what have you done well? The question is, what have you done well since becoming a commissioner of this league? Because the growth of the sport is not due to you. The growth of the sport is due to a girl from Iowa walking up in here who shoots the ball from 40 feet away from the basket. And she has this fan base that comes in with her. Angel Reese has this fan base that comes in with her, similar to the Larry Bird and Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Johnson, what the hell? Magic Johnson rivalry. In that same dynamic, and you don't take advantage of that, and you're sitting here on your high horse acting like you've done a good job, like you deserve to stay. When she went up there at Napheesa, when she went up there and said all that stuff, I knew immediately that this woman was done. That there was no way the WNBA could bring her back. If the owners could collectively say, hey, we're going to bring Kathy back and have her run this league, that was over with. And the statement confirmed that from the W after all of this, where she didn't deny anything because she couldn't deny it. You can't deny it. You said these things. It would have came back to bite you. So now you're like in crisis management mode. It's too late. You just got you on defense. You're back in your heels. You're digging your heels in, getting pushed. It's over. And the reality of it is that now you're going into a new CBA, a new negotiation here between the NBPA, WNBPA, and the owners. And you're not. This is a battle that you would not have won with Kathy being the face of the owners, like being the representative, sitting across the table from these girls, from these women, in this situation. So there is zero chance that they could bring her back. I knew that was going to be the situation that we found ourselves in the minute she did this. And I also want to say this, in a world where there are a lot of cowards who won't say what needs to be said, Napheesa deserves a lot of credit for stepping up and saying what needs to be said and delivering it in a way that wasn't disrespectful, delivering it in a way that was just really succinct and really on the money as well. She there's a lot of credit for that as well. So I watched it and I was like, this is awesome. I'm proud of her. I don't even know her. I'm proud of her. I don't know her personally. I'm proud of her. So, no, man, the league is in a really bad spot, and there's no reason for it. There are enough really good players in that league to where people should be tuning in. There should be casual fans of the WNBA. There aren't casual fans.
Question before we transition, right? No disagreement, anything that both of y'all said on the subject of Caitlin Clark. So we've seen multiple players, even Asia Wilson, who said she didn't hear what Napheesa said as of yet before her game. But she said, I'm pretty sure whatever she said, I'm standing 10 toes down behind her. We believe her. One of the noticeable responses was Caitlin Clark when asked about it. She said no comment. Do y'all think there's anything to Caitlin being, from what we've seen, the only WNBA player to respond really with no comment?
This is a greater point about society. People don't like when I do this, but it's just real. I'm being honest. Okay, historically, white people in situations like this don't speak up. Just historically. I'm just being honest. You sit there and you watch because you're comfortable. You don't say anything in the face of great injustice 9 times out of 10. Because you're very comfortable when these things don't really affect you, right? You don't want to be in the middle of things. Now, I'm going to give Caitlin a break on this and tell you this. She has had to deal with a lot more than any other player in the W has ever had to deal with in terms of public scrutiny that she didn't ask for. She's just really good at basketball. That's it. She's not a controversial figure. She doesn't do anything. She's just some girl from rural America who happens to be really good at the sport. That's it. And she talks trash on the floor or whatever. That's not justification for the level of scrutiny she's under. Now, that's part of the gig. That's part of the gig when you're a great player. So no one has to feel bad for her. I'm not telling anyone to feel bad for this person, for Caitlin. But her not speaking up in this moment is not going to age well. She's young. It's not going to age well. I know she just got here to this league, but you're already the most valuable player from a brand standpoint in the sport. And it isn't particularly close. It isn't. You're not the best player in the sport, but you're the most valuable. Your brand is worth more than anybody else. I don't think that's a debate. I don't, right? When Sophie Cunningham said it, I think she was absolutely right when she said it. I just think that's the way it is. So this is like a societal thing. I just think that's the way it's always been. I just think that white people are less likely to speak up in the face of something being wrong because there's a comfort in the way that you're able to lead your life day to day, right? But Black people are used to having to speak up for themselves, used to having to stand on something, right? And have to point out any kind of wrongdoing because we're faced with wrongdoing every day. It's just the reality of life as a Black person in this country. So that's real. That's real, and I think that's a real dynamic. You can't talk about this without bringing it up. I'm sorry, you can't do it. And I'll say it again. Caitlin deserves no. I don't blame her. I understand why she wouldn't want to get her hands dirty, but just remember, this is for the betterment of everybody else in the league as well, right? Like you're making money off the floor. Not everybody else is making $16 million in endorsements off the floor, guys. So it's bigger than you. It's bigger than sometimes this is a real society. It's a societal problem. People are selfish and don't focus on anybody else besides themselves if they're straight. This is bigger than you. This is about the next person. This is about the 12 woman on the bench. This is about all that. So it's not a good look. I hope she looks back on this in a retrospective moment and is like, hey, like looking back, I should have said something. And hopefully she still has time. Hopefully she speaks up. But I didn't think it was a good call at all, and I didn't like it.
I think so far since she's been in the league, and we could transition after this. We don't have to stay on this, but I think so far since she's been in the league, she has failed in that regard and understanding the gravity of who she is. And I know people hate this and people, oh my gosh, look at you, LeBron sexuals. LeBron at the age of 18, 19 understood when to speak, what to say, what not to say. Outside of the situation where he did the decision and the not 1, not 2, not 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, media-wise, everybody should take lessons. Caitlin Clark, you are the face of the W. You have chosen not to be a part of Unrivaled. You want no parts of it. You have chosen to do that back-to-back seasons. You have chosen not to speak up on situations. You have chosen after you have to get asked 4 or 5 times, hey, how do you feel about your fans being racist towards XYZ? Mm-hmm. It takes multiple efforts to get something out of you. So on that front, she gives kind of like the KD prototype of I just want to play ball, and not saying KD does that because KD has spoken up on things, but she gives I just want to play ball, not realizing and not understanding the gravity of your Caitlin Clark. You don't have that liberty to just I want to play ball. At some point, you're going to have to speak up on these things, or we're going to have serious conversations where it's going to be valid, where you're going to be like, yo, I think her colleagues hate her. And it's going to be because of this, not your play. It's going to be because when we needed you to step up, her saying something respectful to all of them would have weighed more if she was in agreement, like, yeah, if Fee was right. I stand with Fee and the players. These are your colleagues. She said no comment. So I'll leave that there.
It's just you're white. That you're sitting in that white comfort, just sitting in it and enjoying it. I'm telling you guys, like, that's a real thing, bro. I think we all know it, but it's a shame. It's a shame. I don't want to come down too hard on her because I know it's been tough, but that's the gig when you're as great as you are. That's the gig.
I found it interesting though, like Napheesa bringing that up as a part of her exit interview, like the Caitlyn part. She could have just brought up all the issues, but Caitlyn is the one that weighs so heavily on this league, and having the leader, quote unquote, say this stuff about Caitlyn, like almost shut up and dribble, basically. For her to come out and say that in a private conversation, I mean, I'm sure she said other things, but Caitlyn's the one that this kind of weighs heavier on the league than, like, let's say, like a Dejanay or you think of
Chelsea Gray.
Like, Caitlyn's the one who's the quote unquote face of the league because of the movement that's happened in the last 5 years with how big women's college basketball became and how big she was in that sport and how they were supposed to take advantage of this. And then because they're not getting what they want, all right, you thought I forgot about that combo? You thought that was private. That combo you was telling me about Caitlyn being grateful for what we've given her.
To get on their knees.
Yes, I'm like,
they should get on their knees. That's what she said.
I'm like,
a bunch of women and get on their knees.
This is crazy to even have that as a part of the conversation and to be so arrogant to, like, loosely be talking like that. I mean, yeah, Kathy's not long for this job. It's only a matter of time. But I'm not taking away from Caitlyn. She's got to speak up on these important issues. That no comment was, I don't know, felt like a slap in the face for Napheesa, who it was almost, she was asking you to speak up for her by bringing you into the conversation because, let's face it, if you take Caitlyn Clark out of the league, you lose a lot of fans. Like, if she's playing right now, prime time, everybody's watching this game right now. I think a lot of people don't even know that the Fever are playing right now, unless you're really tapped in like that. So,
yeah, I think that was 100% strategic by Napheesa to purposely bring her up in the conversation, because she could have just said Angel Reese and Paige, but she purposely brought her up, which I think the vets have been trying to throw that alley oop, like, hey, get involved, hey, step up, hey, we don't hate you, we could actually benefit from you standing up, hey, come join Unrivaled. We'll give you the highest salary for Unrivaled. We'll actually give you the highest amount of stock that you could have inside Unrivaled. Equity, not stock, equity in Unrivaled. So your colleagues are telling you, we know you're the face, because she would get the biggest contract if she joined Unrivaled, is what they promised her. And you kind of like stuff your nose up at them. Unrivaled, I'm not going to do it. Hey.
See, this is why I wish Paige never got hurt. Because Paige, player of the year, freshman year, best player, and all of a sudden she tears her ACL. She's out for like a year and a half, 2 years. Then who comes in right in that time period? Caitlyn Clark. Everybody, the great white hope. She's the great white hope in the WNBA. But Paige is the one who will speak up on certain issues. Paige is the one who is more relatable with these players. Caitlyn, she's not really relatable. She plays basketball, but it feels like she's, I don't want to say out there by herself, but even when you watch the Fever play, it feels different when she's on the court versus when she's not on the court. Like,
she's very Michael Jordan-esque in the sense that she don't want to speak about nothing because it's going to affect her bottom line. Mm-hmm. She's trying to protect them. She's trying to protect herself. And you trust me, you don't want to be remembered the way Michael was in this situation, in this capacity, in this scenario here, where you don't speak on things that matter. Okay, you stand for anything, you stand for anything, you'll fall for anything too, man. It's nonsense. So I hope she figures it out and grows up in that regard. But if the girls don't like her next year and you start to see some animosity, if we go this whole lockout and she says nothing, and you see her taking some hard fouls and some woes, just understand like that's why. Like if they throwing dildos at her head, just know that's why. That's why.
Hey, speaking of the W, as we transition, the Dallas Wings coach is the latest coach to have been fired. He was not returning in Dallas. Speaking of the game, Aces are up by 4. But speaking of the number 4, there are 2 teams left in the NFL that are undefeated, 4-0 records. We'll start in the AFC. Are the Bills the best team in the AFC, or is it another team despite their 4-0 record?
I'm not going to sit here and tell you they aren't the best team. I mean, Miles, I don't know if you have a team in mind that you think is better. I'm not going to tell you they're not the best team in the AFC. I'm not going to do it. I think they're loaded. I think they're loaded. I think their passing offense is dormant at times, but they run the ball really, really well. They compete well on both sides of the line of scrimmage. Josh Allen is playing great football per usual. Taking care of the football, and running the football, just being really, really effective, leading the group. So they deserve to be called the best team in the AFC. I don't know which team would be sticking and claiming that. If the Chargers had beat the brakes off the Giants last weekend, maybe I'd feel differently about this conversation. That didn't happen.
I think, yeah, the Bills are definitely the top of the top. I think when they made that decision to go away from like the Diggs needing a number 1 receiver to funnel him targets, they made the decision that we don't need a number 1. We have one of many. So like they have like 5 guys that they can pass it to, and Josh doesn't feel the pressure to just throw it to this one guy, because if I don't, he'll be upset on the sideline, in the locker room, in meetings, at Applebee's, like everywhere we go, he's going to be upset. So since they made that change, this team is a lot better now. Even last year, they started to show like there's something here. Now 4-0, like Josh is amazing. Like he spreads the ball around to everybody. James Cook's amazing. He's been shown the last 2 years. James Cook's been one of the top 5 running backs in the league. So now you got that. You got a great run game. You don't have to rely on Josh to play hero ball anymore. And he's not turning the ball over. So this is the favorite right here. Like, yeah, the Chargers, they look good for those first 3 games. And, yeah, that Giants game always felt like a trap game because they're playing away. Jaxson Dart's first start. Everybody's going to be juiced up for that one. Cool. Chargers are going to be in that conversation too. But the Bills, they're the top of the top.
Hey, on the NFC side, I think we might have some pushback on this. The Eagles are the other team that's undefeated, still 4-0. Are the Eagles the best team in the NFC, or is it another team despite the record for the Philadelphia Eagles?
I like the Lions. Even though the defense is not as great as they were in past years, but the offense is legit. Like, they've got playmakers all over the place. St. Brown, Gibbs, Montgomery,
Not
J-Mo.
Laporta.
Not Laporta. You're right. Not Laporta. Soon, though. Soon. They got weapons everywhere. Jared can just spread the ball around the field to everybody. And since that Packers game week 1, I don't think they've scored less than 30 points in a game. So sometimes you need that first week to knock the kinks out. And I'm interested to see how they'll look against the Packers when they play them again. But yeah, I think the Lions are the team outside of the Eagles. Like the Eagles, everybody can hate on the Eagles all they want. They figure out ways to win, whether it's ugly, whether they have to come back from 20 down like they did against the Rams. But the goal has always been winning. And if they're winning, hey, they're still the top dog in the NFC. They're the reigning champs until they get knocked off. But Packers are up there, Lions. It's gonna be fun to watch in the NFC. Even the NFC West. San Fran's had injuries and they're 3-1. Seattle, Sam Darnold looked really good over there. There's teams.
Can I just say the obvious? The Eagles are the best team in the NFC by a mile. It ain't close. All right, they don't throw the ball to AJ, not worth a damn. They don't throw him the ball. This dude, Jalen Hurts, second half of that last game against the Buccaneers, 0 passing yards. They won the game by damn near 30. They blew him out. It wasn't close. So, guys, I don't think there's even a debate. I'm sorry. They have a play they run that no one can stop because the NFL is not officiating it correctly. And they're pushing Jalen in the ass, getting over the line. So the reality of the situation is, the truth is, with that offensive line, with their ability to have to deal with just you deal with water. The defense is watered down because you have to stack the box. You cannot get cute defensively. You can't show him crazy looks. You've got to stack the box. You have to stop the run. You have to, and it's hard to do that if you don't put 8 guys in that box. It's almost impossible. So I'm sorry, guys. The Eagles put teams in a conundrum that no other team in the NFL puts teams in. And every time I watch a good football team go out there and have a good performance, I think to myself, can they beat the Eagles? Probably not. That's my exact thought. Every time I think about it, I see a good team. The Bills, the Ravens in the past, whoever, the Chiefs, whoever it may be. You have a team that is dominant on both lines of scrimmage. And special teams, they're dominant there too. Now they're blocking kicks left and right. What don't they do well besides pass the football? It's the only thing they don't do well, and it doesn't matter. They do not require Jalen Hurts to do much besides read a scripture pregame, hand the football off, and make a couple passes during the football game. They do not turn it over. That is it.
I'll give you a better stat. The first half, he had 1 incompletion. The second half, 0 completions. Just to show how the first half, elite, 1 incompletion. The second half, he did not complete 1 pass. That Eagles team they control both, like you said, the offensive line and the defensive line. Dominant.
Bro, the game wasn't even close, bro. 31-25 is not an indicator of how that game went. That game was not close. It was not that competitive. They were up big early, and they coasted to a win without ever throwing the football in the second half. When have you ever seen that? This is not Phil Simms' era of football. It's not Lawrence Taylor. It's not Reggie White. It's not what? This is not Terry Bradshaw football. This is 2025, the big 2025 in an NFL where we have made it easy for teams to throw the football and to sustain offense, and we play out of shotgun, we run spread formation. The Eagles do not have to throw the football to win games. They've got a disgruntled wide receiver who they made a captain, and it's a big thing nationally, a big story nationally, right? But in that locker room, it's probably there. They think about it, but it doesn't matter. Because they have the greatest offensive line I've ever seen. They are stacked. They are stacked. Dude, Howie has done an incredible job with that roster. There's no other way to blow it down. And I'll say this too while we're talking about the Eagles. I heard a conversation between Ocho and Shannon about AJ, and that basically Shannon was saying that it's BS, that he doesn't believe that AJ really prioritizes winning. That winning is not the main prerogative thing. I'm just gonna sit there and be very honest, okay, guys. I think AJ wants to win football games, guys. Okay, I think like anybody else, any athlete, and I think Shannon should understand this. If Shannon Broncos are just steamrolling teams, and he's getting 1 target, 2 targets a game, or he gets 5, and half of them are uncatchable footballs, he's not going to be the happiest camper in the world. Okay, it's a fair thing for AJ to be upset. Let's not do that. Let's not mark this guy as someone who isn't a winner, who doesn't care about winning. It's unfair. Okay, naturally he wants to be a part of it. He got paid a huge contract, and he's not carrying any of the load. And Ultra made a good point as well. Hey guys, usually in sports or usually in your corporate job, if you get a promotion and you are not carrying your weight, you are not doing what the job description entails, they will come to you and they will look to demote you. That is the way it works in life. And I think AJ is very aware of that. So he could be all rah, happy, crip walking with Jalen in the locker room after games or whatever because they're winning. But at the end of the day, if he has 0 yards, if he finishes the season under 500 yards total of receiving, right, what are they going to do in a couple years about that contract? They're going to say, yo, like, we're going to trade you? Or, hey, we don't, which he loved by now. He'd invite that. Hey, we need you to take a pay cut. He's not doing that. It's not his fault. It's not his fault that it's going the way it's going right now with the passing game. It's unfair. So they better figure that part out because that could derail the season if it continues. It's toxic. And I know, Miles, I know you are Johnny Cochran when it comes to Jalen Hurts. But let's be honest. Let's be honest here. Let's just be real. I just want to be honest. All right?
Well, look, I do think he needs to play better. I also think that this new offensive coordinator is awful. Like, the whole offense doesn't look good. Like, Jalen Hurts is not passing it like he has in the past. Like, granted, it's not all peaches and cream, but he's been a better passer than he's shown this year. Even though he's been efficient, it's not like they're taking shots down the field. And then Saquon. Saquon doesn't look great right now. And, yeah, they've been a little banged up on the offensive line.
They're
but
still winning games.
They're still winning. So nobody's complaining right now. But there's no creativity. So if you face a Lions team that, I mean, they lose Ben Johnson, they still have creativity. They still have ways to scheme guys open. They're not scheming AJ open. They're having him run these raggedy route concepts and wondering why he's not getting the ball. Because you're having him run outs and underneath stuff. Like, you watch teams nowadays, and you brought up, like you said, this is a different league now. There's teams where they have these muddy routes that get guys open, where you're running routes to get in the way of other guys. They don't do that for AJ. So it's real tough. And, I mean, we saw it in the Rams game. They can pass it. They can throw it. But it's like, do they have to be down 20 to really open the playbook up where you're taking shots downfield? Like, they should be able to attack from the jump, and they don't. Because I think they've accepted, like, we'll just do what we need to win. Like, we don't want to put too much on Jalen. We don't want to have him try to do too much, or I don't know. I'm still confused by
I hope that's not the thought they have, considering you paid him already.
I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know what they're thinking because he can pass. We've seen it. Super Bowl MVP. He played great in the Super Bowl. And to see that guy 9 months ago and then the guy now, what's the difference? I mean, Kellen Moore's in New Orleans. This new guy who's never been a coordinator. Yeah, that's a big difference. Even the Saints, that offense looks better with Rattler than it did last year with Derek Carr. Because of what? Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore is scheming up more plays for guys, even though Rattler is not a viable starter, but he's making do with what he's got. So they were competitive against the Bills last week. Like, come on.
The Rams game, all I'm going to say is every pass that they hit to A.J. Brown was on the same route, comeback. Same route. There's no creativity. It's the same thing. They are just asking him to beat these corners every time, and they never scheme him open. Ever. I'd be upset too. And I'll be honest, you go win a Super Bowl this year, it's like, are you going to be all happy? What'd you do? You ain't doing no work in the class project. You ain't doing nothing. You ain't doing anything. So, and that's not how he's wired. These guys are these premier athletes. They have a mindset where they're trying to chase excellence and everything that they do. So for a civilian Like the people who say, "Oh, he doesn't want to. He's not worried about winning." You don't understand because you've never really worked for anything that hard in your entire life, right? You're a titty baby. That's what you are. You've been, that's what people don't understand that. Like you've had things gifted to you. You don't get it. So don't do that. About AJ. I don't like that discourse. I was kind of annoyed with Shannon for saying that, but that's all right. That's not no. He's all right.
So we know on the college level, we're going to transition to the college level. So we know on the college level, so it's early, 4 or 5 weeks in, but we said it at the beginning of the season. The discussion of quarterbacks is a fluctuating thing. 1 week, this quarterback's the number one. The next week, this quarterback's the So based off of this week, I know in our chat and on social, a hot name right now that's been going around is Dante Moore. Do you feel Dante Moore, as of right now, is the number one QB prospect going into the draft next year?
He's up there. I do think Mendoza is probably ahead of him right now, just because you've got the guy 6'5", 230, typical size for a quarterback, which you'd want, and he's got a live arm from Indiana. He's got a strong arm. He's looked good so far this year. But like the way the league's moving is more towards a guy like Dante Moore, a guy who's mobile. He can make those like weird angled throws. He's similar to what we saw with Jaden coming out of LSU. Like when I watch him play, it reminds me of like a light version of Jaden Daniels. So I do think as the year goes on, because Oregon's going to be up there, they're probably going to be in the playoff. We're going to see him against stiffer competition. Like that was a good test against Penn State. And I think he passed because that defense is really good. They got NFL prospects at all levels. So, but yeah, Dante Moore is definitely at the top with Fernando Mendoza. And I mean, Sellers, I don't know. I think he should stay a little longer in college just because I don't want him to end up like Richardson. And Richardson, hey, he could always go and be a reclamation project somewhere else. We've seen it happen before, but it's not looking too good. You don't want to leave school too early, and then you're working for Chase in 6 years.
Outside of
Well, I was just going to say, I think Dante is the number one prospect. I do think Mendoza has real credibility. It depends on the team that's picking number one. I think it's a two-horse race right now. I would just say don't take your eyes off of Aller. The NFL execs surprise you. We may think one thing, and then they think something different because of his physical tools and gifts as well. And don't take your eye off Nussmeier either. I'm telling you, don't do it. I know LSU's hasn't played well, and he hasn't been the greatest, but that's probably more of a function of that coach, Brian Kelly, who's long overstayed his welcome in Baton Rouge. And I think we can call some Louisiana folks who will tell us in the different Southern twang right now that they're sick and tired of that man and want him gone. So I know Nuss can play the position. That I know. So I think there's a few names still that are in the mix, but Dante has been really impressive. And he played really well under some tough circumstances down in Penn State this weekend, and was calm, cool, collected as well throughout the game. And yeah, there are other guys like Sawyer Robertson, guys like that from Baylor. Sawyer Robertson from Baylor, who's played at a high level as well. The kid Levitt, I don't know if he's eligible. I don't know if he's quite know if he's eligible or not, but he is exciting, a creator. In the pocket, a creator with the football in his hands, like an improviser is kind of the way I would describe him, but has a nice arm as well. Mateer is still very much in the mix as well. So there are some guys I wouldn't like pencil anything in. It's very early in the season. We gotta temper expectations, but there are some guys playing football at a decent level right now. It's not exactly what you hope from a quarterback class. It ain't the Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels class, but it's not. This is no pushover class. It's not a bunch of scrubs. So we'll see how this thing materializes. But I'm interested to see it. Even Carson Beck's playing better, but I'm out on him. I've been out on him.
MLB playoffs, the wild card is in full swing. Couple games already have happened. I'll just I'll just ask this: out of the wild card teams, if you had to rank them, your top three that you think could actually make a World Series run of the wild card teams. And for those that don't know, that's the Tigers against Guardians, Red Sox against the Yankees. Red Sox already won one game. Padres against the Cubs, Reds against the Dodgers, and the Dodgers have 5 home runs in this game already. So
It's ridiculous, bro.
I mean, Dodgers for sure number one.
Come on,
That goes without question. And then it's one, two, three. It's Dodgers. You could flip flop Red Sox, Yankees, but it depends on how the series goes. But those are teams that are built to make a run in the playoffs. I mean, the Dodgers, they've got the highest payroll in baseball, so they're not supposed to be in the wild card, but here they are. And I mean, you're getting to see extra baseball from Ohtani, who I think has 2 home runs on the night. So they're definitely a favorite in the West or in the NL to make another appearance in the World Series.
hey, just complete sidebar. I want to ask Greg. This is a complete sidebar, and of course, you can answer the baseball question. But I'm watching the Aces Fever game, and I saw somebody point this out on TikTok. And I wanted your opinion on it, especially being as somebody that's played as well. The Fever, Sophie Cunningham, Caitlin Clark, and the other shorty, can't think of her name right now. They're not playing. They're sitting at the front of the bench.
Oh my god!
The actual players that are in the game are sitting behind them.
Oh my god, bro!
What was the controversy with that one girl? What's her name? Chloe Bibby.
So she posted.
Post.
Yeah.
And was it what? Because they were standing like almost the white people on this side and then the black cop on one side. Is that what the issue was?
I believe so.
Yo.
Yeah, these people.
They from all I've seen,
but these people.
From all I've seen, and I've watched a bevy of videos, and they said she wasn't like that till she got injured and was hanging out with Sophie and Caitlin. And I think it's a little weird. You're injured. You're not playing. Why are you at the front of the bench?
No. It's very weird. The WNBA is ass backwards. It makes no sense. When LeBron's injured, when LeBron James is injured, he sits at the end of the bench. What are we doing? There are no you know what? So seriously, it almost feels like the WNBA is like just like a lawless land. Like there's anything goes. There's just complete chaos, dildos, all types. That's not their fault. All types of nonsense. Like it's just ridiculous. There's no like order. There's no tradition in the league at all. And I know it's young in its existence, but for that to be the case, your coaches don't maintain any level of order. They don't demand any level of respect from their players. For that to be the situation, why would Caitlin be sitting at the front? Caitlin Clark is good at basketball, really good at basketball. She is not a coach. She should not be sitting up there, up next to the coach. Like when you're giving her instructions, she has assistant coaches and then to be next to the coach. I mean, and you need to be able to see your players. You need to get to in a pinch and get them in the game. This makes no sense. But I'm not surprised. And I can say something right now, but I'm not going to say it. I think you guys know what I'm going to say. I'm not going to say it because you guys know where I could go and I could take this and it would just open up a whole different can of worms, but this league is backwards. I'm going to tell you that right now. It's backwards. There are things that happen in W that should not and do not happen anywhere else in any other walk of life. You cannot do it. You can't do it. It's not okay. It's not okay. But I'm not going to open up this can of worms.
No other team does this but them. And
they were standing up on the bench and like humping in the air the other day. I think I saw that. A clip of them doing that.
I know y'all saw that clip of them standing up and then the assistant coaches telling them like you got to sit down.
That's what I'm talking about.
And who was it? Sophie like aggressively like waved off one of the coaches. I was like, you're not playing. 1, 2. Who do you think you are? These are your coaches. There's got to be a level of respect. And
I think they don't take their league seriously, Mal. I don't think they take the league seriously. I think they kind of understand that like the W's in the back burner in people's minds, and they're like almost bigger. They feel bigger than shit.
Serious. When you have coaches who sign a contract 1 year later, they're gone, or players who sign for one team, gone the next. Like, there's too much moving parts going on with this league.
Didn't the Fever have a player named Dewana Bonner who just refused to play basketball? Like just didn't like what you saw and said, "I'm not playing." Just breached her contract and got traded or something.
And then she went to play with her wife. Or
she did what?
She went to go play with her wife.
Okay. Okay. You see though, you see how that can't happen, right? Do we understand that it's not okay to be at work and to be in cahoots with your coworkers like that, to be in bed with your coworkers, to roll around the sack with your coworkers? That doesn't make sense, guys.
Quite literally.
It doesn't make sense. You can't do that. Like, it's not a thing. That's unacceptable. And it's not about anything other than that creates issues. What if they break up? What if there's domestic violence situation on the team? There are a lot of issues with that. That is not okay. This league, this commissioner has been awful. They need their David Stern. And they need someone to come in there and crack down on some of this nonsense. She went to go play with her wife. What?
Right. She had
what is this?
No interest in other teams. The Aces didn't want her. But conveniently, who wants her? Phoenix.
She wasn't going to go anywhere else. She told them wasn't going nowhere else. Greg, not only did she say I'm not going to play, she was still getting her checks too.
No,
she was getting her checks. She didn't say she didn't say why she wasn't playing until she got to her new team, and she didn't really even answer why. She just it wasn't a good fit.
No,
but we know we know. She didn't want to play with Caitlin Clark, and then now that you don't want to play with Caitlin Clark, you don't want to play with Sophie Cunningham and the rest of the squad, you force your way out to your wife's team. Y'all was on the same team last year. Before you went to the Fever, y'all were on the same team anyway. Y'all didn't have to separate teams.
No. The Fever have a chance to do the funniest thing tonight. If they beat the Aces,
it's okay. How is this okay? Is it because they're women that we don't speak about this like the way we should, or because it's the W and people just generally don't care? That's the reason we don't talk? It's crazy. It's crazy. Yo, could you imagine if Rui Hachimura and Austin Reeves came out and they were dating?
Well, yo, people do that's a whole different thing. Like, people.
Could you imagine the problems it causes?
People are more accepting of lesbian relationships, even though this is different.
You see, I don't want to do that. I said why I don't want to go open that can of worms. We all know the double standard that exists, and it's BS. It's not. It's dude. It's just from a corporate standpoint. It's a job. It's a job, bro.
Because look, the WNBA has these things happening, but then you have guys like Michael Sam or some of these other players who come out.
Bro.
Don't have a job.
They be ushering them dudes out the league. Mm-hmm. They act like it's cool. They act like they're cool with them coming out, and then they usher them out the league real quick. Yo, okay, you gotta go. Paul Nassib, you gotta go, bro. It's cool. You good. You good. It's quick. Michael Sam, it was over. It was over faster than it probably would have been had he not said a word. Jason Collins. Roll the ASAP Rocky clip. It just got hard for him to be in the NBA space. Okay, so I just, dude, I'm telling you, it would be such a problem in the NBA if dudes were trying to facilitate moves to other teams to be playing with the dude with the dude they're with, because there's DL dudes in the NBA. There's DL dudes in football. Let's not act like, let's not be naive. There are, but to be openly doing something like that, to be openly trying to facilitate a move to go play with your man, end the podcast.
my man.
Come on, bro. You do that. You do that little walk-ins during ABC. The ABC walk-ins were on the Sunday countdown. You see Austin Reeves and Roy Jamal holding hands. Cam Thomas and Michael Porter Jr. holding hands. Come on, bro. Jeff T got mad because y'all said someone dude was wearing his jersey with no drawers on. Come on, guys. Come on. This is crazy.
Like I've said it in our chats, the W has a lot of issues to figure out this summer. Not this summer, this off season, because their season is in the summer. But at least over at the BME podcast, we ain't got that concern over here at all. Y'all know the vibes. Y'all know the vibes here. If you stay ready, you ain't gotta get ready. Fish Mob,
we couldn't do the podcast if one of us was dating each other, bro. Couldn't do the podcast.